Hey everybody, welcome to Beyond the Sash, our show all about Miss America and beyond. I'm here today with Miss Taisha St. Jean. I am Nina Zuski, your current Miss Buffalo, and we have a super special guest.
Yes, my favorite Miss America, just saying, is Mallory Hagan. And Nina, I have to say, we competed last year at Miss New York, but I got the Mallory Hagan Award, which, just saying. Mallory, can you talk about a little bit of how you were Miss America 2013 and how you ran for office?
Yes, I would love to. Well, thank you guys so much for thinking of having me. I do think it's so important that people understand what Miss America is outside of the crowns and sashes and the stuff that happens on stage. Being Miss America is a job that lasts 365 days and truly beyond. It is something that we carry with us moving forward for the rest of our lives, which is why you'll hear many people say that once you're Miss America, forever Miss America, and it really is true. I've been out of the Miss America organization now for 7 years, and I'm hard pressed to go anywhere without someone at some point saying, oh, she was Miss America. So it truly does live with us, and that's something that I'm very proud of. But having been Miss America 7 years ago, a lot's happened since then, and I look forward to talking about some of that stuff with you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And not only are you a former Miss America, but you are also a Miss New York sister because you won Miss New York and then went on to win Miss America. And one thing that I think is really interesting and a lot of people don't totally understand about the organization is the way that works. We had our three-peats and that was so cool, which means in the course of 3 years, we had 6 Miss New Yorks. And so would you just talk a little bit about your time from being Miss New York to Miss America?
Sure. So I think what you're alluding to is that I'm originally from Alabama. So when I did win Miss New York, people were like, wait a minute, how did you do that? So the great thing about the Miss America organization, of course, is that it's scholarship based. And over the course of the 11 years collectively that I participated, I won over $74,000 in scholarship assistance for school. But coming from Alabama, where I had competed in the teen program that Miss America has, and moving to New York, I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do school-wise. And so when I did figure that out, the fastest way that I knew to earn scholarship money was to pull out all of those gowns and pull out my tap shoes and get on stage in New York, potentially winning scholarship to go to school. Well, I was lucky enough to do that. For the first 2 years I competed in the Miss New York organization, I was first runner-up. And both of those first runner-up scholarships helped to pay for 2 semesters at FIT, which is where I wanted to go. So you can move anywhere, you can live anywhere, you can work anywhere. And as long as you meet the requirements for work or school in a state, you can compete there. And so I feel very lucky that I had been in New York for a few years, so I didn't have to worry about any of that eligibility. But anybody who's looking to compete or might be thinking about that, just know that whether you go to school in your hometown or not, or in your home state or not, you have the opportunity to compete wherever you are for that scholarship money.
Mm-hmm. Which is awesome because it really allows Miss America contestants to be super dynamic and really serve where they're located or where their heart is in. And so I think that's so awesome.
It is.
So Mallory,
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you asked me to talk a little bit about my time as Miss New York leading up to America, and I skipped that part. So it was a great, the time frame between when a young woman wins now and when Miss America happens has varied a little bit over the last couple of years, just based on television and location of the competition every year. But when I was Miss New York, I had 6 months between the time that I won and going to the Miss America competition, and so it was quite a bit of time to really dig my heels into the role of Miss New York. And I was very proud of the work that I did. I traveled around the state and I actually did refresher courses with teachers. My platform was called Stop It Now, Child Sexual Abuse. And so it's very difficult to get into schools to talk to school-age children about child abuse and about some of those things that are very difficult subjects, and for good reason. But it's not too difficult to get in and talk to teachers and remind them of their role. So I spent 6 months doing that, and I feel very fortunate. I also was able to take a trip to Africa, and I worked with an organization called Project Empower, and we went over to a little village called Chimukopa, and were able to work on an education-based nonprofit. So I had a lot of really unique opportunities as Miss New York leading up to Miss America, and I feel very fortunate for that.
And that's the reason she won Miss America. Everyone, obviously that's the reason. And also she created so many endless opportunities throughout New York State. I can tell you one of my mentors, Lana, she told me when you came to Buffalo and hanged out with her and did amazing things and how you were really touching every part of the state. So thank you for not only being a wonderful Miss New York, but a great Miss America. But I kind of want to talk about something that me and you both have in common. We love politics. I want to run for office. Currently, I'm on the ballot for a district. Yeah, so District 25. So please fill in your ballots. But I know that you ran for the 3rd district. Am I correct?
Yes.
Can you talk about that and what made you want to run?
Sure. Well, it's hard to talk about that without talking just a little bit about the scandal that rocked Miss America a few years ago. But essentially, nationally recognized scandal within the Miss America organization sort of thrust me back into the spotlight and required that I was very adamant in standing up for the women of the Miss America organization and just women in general. So when that all happened, I was actually working as a news anchor in Columbus, Georgia. Had just started getting my feet wet, thought that, I was going to climb the ranks of the news world. I wanted to be on Good Morning America or something like that. And a group of people that live in my hometown had other plans for me. So they reached out to me and essentially said, if you can handle this national conversation in a way that is with dignity and respect, and also, basically saying like you weren't mean, but you were very adamant that this was not how this was going to go down. And they were like, we need that type of representation in our district. We have had a congressman in the Alabama's 3rd congressional district for 17 years now, and he's accomplished very little. And so when I started thinking about that and looking at the numbers at that time, there were 4 women under 40 in Congress. Just representation for women across the country was very low, and it still is, but we did make some strides in 2018. But that really pushed me to run, thinking about being the example of politics is for everyone, and it doesn't matter where you come from or what you studied. You don't have to be a lawyer to decide to run for public office. And I knew that I wouldn't win. The numbers just weren't there for my district, but I did know that my name and having been Miss America would lead to national attention, and it would lead to national attention in publications that young women read. For instance, Bustle, Refinery 29, all of these places where young people are seeing the story of my candidacy. And that was what was important to me, was making sure that we made national headlines, we got national dollars, so that there would be national eyeballs on the fact that someone under the age of 30 was running for Congress. And we succeeded in that. And I think that we've inspired other people to do just that through the campaign that we led. So that's really why I ran. I wanted to set the example that you could be from anywhere and you could accomplish anything, and none of that should matter. When you want to run for office, you should be able to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that story. And when at the time I saw that you were running, I was just like, that is so perfect. And it is awesome to see somebody, not just in Miss America, but so intertwined with MAO at the time, who was championing for us, was like standing up for the girls involved. And I was just blown away at the courage that you had during that time. And thank you for that, because, as a woman competing still, I obviously wanted to be the best organization possible. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about being a representative for young women and what that really means. I think it's awesome that you kind of took this opportunity saying, you know what, I might not win, but the impact I could make would much outlast this one campaign.
Sure. And that really was the basis of all of it, was trying to run a very viable campaign. And, I ended up raising more money than any other congressional candidate in our state. I worked very, very hard. Anybody who followed that campaign, I was up at 6, I was to bed at 2, and I did it every day for 9 months. And ironically, nothing could have prepared me for that more than having been Miss America, to be truly honest. Miss America is about meeting people every day, being able to walk in any room and have a conversation, find commonality, keynote addresses with different organizations. It's about putting your thinking cap on no matter what room you're in, and making a good impression. And so I, of course, know that the women of Miss America are doing that across the country, but I wanted other young women Particularly where I'm from, I live in a college town. So Auburn University is our major university in our district, but there are 11 other college campuses up and down the district that I ran in. So I wanted those college students to be engaged, to see themselves in the person that was running for office, and to know that that was possible. So that was really, really what was under my skin the whole time. Was like every time I ran into a young woman or a young man, but a young woman, I wanted them to know, like, hey, you can still be fun and wear hoop earrings and love red lipstick and also love politics and be engaged and be encouraging those around you to do the same.
Absolutely. And trust me, I know the feeling of getting signatures and I know the feeling of polling. Me and Nina both had a poll for a council member that is amazing. And we were out there from Nina, 5 in the morning, I want to say.
Oh,
and so,
girl, we were out there from 5 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, and I still have the sunburn scars to show it.
Yeah. It's hard work. Politicking, as they say, is hard work. But it can also be very rewarding when you meet people and you hear their stories and you see their struggles, and you see that they have hope and that there's a potential that somebody else could be representing them in Washington. And I hate it wasn't me, but like I said, I also knew that just wasn't the case. And I have a good feeling that if I were in Washington, myself and AOC would be thick as thieves. She gives me the vibes that we would be on the same page.
But you know what I love, that you ran for office and you said, well, I may not win this campaign. And usually a lot of elected officials, by the middle of the election, you'll know, like through your campaign, I may not be able to win this, but you still kind of won in the way of getting your name out, making sure that young ladies are able to campaign. I know when you ran, I was like, that's why even Morrissey's my favorite Miss America. I remember talking to Lana, I was like, this is the reason I love Mallory, because we didn't see too many of Miss Americas or state title holders really going after that the way you did. Yeah. And for me, it encouraged not only me, but little girls around me. When I say, oh, I want to be an elected official, they're going to be like, oh, I remember one little girl, she's like, you're going to run like Mallory did. And this is someone in Buffalo saying that. So truly, you definitely made a difference within the community, the social community, even women who are considering running for smaller positions and one day become the governor or a chairwoman of a committee. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there you go. I was like, did she disappear? I also think that the time that I spent in the Miss America organization provided me a platform and it provided me opportunities, right? And I personally feel, and not everyone feels this way in the organization, but I personally feel that I was given tremendous opportunities to network, to meet people, to create relationships. I was given tremendous opportunities to learn through so many of the experiences that I had leading up to being Miss America and during that year. And I was given a national platform and I should use it. One thing that really bothers me within the organization is when someone has a platform or claims to care about something while they're competing, and then you see them once they're done, they never touch it again. They don't raise awareness for it. They don't raise money for it. They don't talk about it. Just nothing. And I've seen that happen quite a bit over the last 10 or so years. And especially now that we're in the age of social media, where it's not just being Miss America or being a state title holder, but it's leveraging a platform of social media. It's being given the opportunity for your voice and your name to actually carry weight when conversations are happening, and to witness women in the program not take advantage of that and not use that platform that they have had or have gotten through this. To me, that's a little bit disheartening. So I carry the weight of having been Miss America and the responsibility that comes with it. I carry that weight into daily conversations, whether it's about politics or about issues that are impacting women. I don't have a huge following, but I have enough of a following to influence one or two people to think outside the box or to think differently about something. And so I plan to continue using it in that way. So I know you two will certainly carry the torch long after you're competing, but I hope you'll encourage your sisters to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that topic of platform, I think it's really important, now it's Social Impact Initiative, it was platform. when choosing whatever you're going to champion as a title holder, in order to make it something you continue to work towards, even when you don't have a title, you know, how many girls compete and don't win a local title? And it should still impact you in some way. And so what advice would you give for somebody who maybe is just entering the program, or who has had a social impact initiative for some time and might be looking to change it? So what would you tell someone when they're choosing their platform or their social impact initiative?
I would say you've got to choose something that you want to talk about every day for the rest of your life. And don't be afraid to change. You know, as we all grow as people, our passions and our interests change and evolve. My platform when I started in the teen program was about arts education awareness, and then it evolved to the Dove Campaign for Real Beauty. I've been a body positive advocate since I was literally 15 years old. And so I did not change my platform or social impact initiative until my very last year to child sexual abuse prevention. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but essentially what it boiled down to was I had competed in the program for a long time, and I had never seen anyone make an impact with their platform the way that Claire Buffy did. She won Miss New York the first year that I competed. I was first runner up, and I thought I was really ready to win. And then Claire was a part of creating this incredible allyship and conversation around LGBTQ rights, and was a part of, you know, landmark cases where marriage equality passed in New York. And I was like, whoa, this is what, like, she's so passionate about this. She got up every day and continued to work for it. And I just, as much as I love the Dove Campaign for Real Beauty, just didn't feel that way. So she inspired me. And then Caitlin Monty won the next year, and same thing. She was a huge advocate across the state for anti-bullying. And I was like, wow, I need to feel that way about whatever it is that I'm going to be doing. And that's what inspired me to change. So if you're just starting out in the program, choose something that you want to fight for every day, even if you don't win. And if you're in the program already and you don't feel as connected to your social impact initiative as you think you should, then don't be afraid to change it. I changed mine 2 months before I went to Miss New York. I still won. And then, 8 months before Miss America, I still won. So I think it's just about having that passion and the knowledge and understanding. What you do with it will come if you care.
Absolutely. I love that message. I think that's so perfect, is to choose something that you want to talk about every single day. Because I know.
Well, if you become Miss America, you have to talk about it every day.
And as for me, I have my nonprofit. So I was like, if Miss America didn't encourage me to file those papers, I don't think I would have. And then after touring and helping 12,000 students across the state, I'm like, this is why service is so important. But most importantly, after Beyond the Crown and Sash, I'll still have a nonprofit where I can assist kids. And that's really what everyone should be striving for, whatever platform or social impact initiative in life, not just for a competition, but for life. Because I feel like everyone has a voice and we need to use it more. And that's something I know I personally encourage our young people to start doing.
Mm-hmm. It's so important. Every one of us has something to say, and every one of us has something that we're passionate about. And if each one of us on the globe just focused on one thing and did our best on a daily basis to try and make that one thing better, our world would be a much better place.
100%. And honestly, I can't think of a better lesson to end on. We have reached our time, and I just want to thank you so much, Mallory, because first of all, every time I talk to you, even though I've met you several times and you are a Miss New York sister, so you've been at Miss New York competitions, I still am a little starstruck, and you always put everyone at ease. And I think that's something that local title holders, state title holders, and of course Miss Americas have figured out how to do, is kind of just have a conversation with anybody and put people at ease. And I just love talking to you about everything and anything.
Well, let me know if you want to do a round 2 sometime. But otherwise, it's been so good to watch both of you. And of course, I do follow both of you in your journeys. And it was a pleasure to hang out with you this last year at Miss New York. And I hope I get to hang out with you again this year.
Hopefully. We'll see.
We'll be on but either way, great work for both of you. And I'm very proud to know you.
Thank you so much. And we're really excited to announce our guest for next week.
So next week, please stay tuned. Remember to, if you're watching this on a mobile device, screenshot this episode and tag Mallory, me as Miss Syracuse, and Miss Buffalo. I want to mention that. So make sure you watch next week. And thank you again, Mallory, for being on here. if you guys want to watch Mallory again talk about something different, she mentioned another episode. So if you do, comment and let us know, and we maybe can get her back on here.
I mean, I'm so busy these days.
Well, Mallory, thank you so much, and catch us next time with Beyond the Sash.